Now that right there is one way to end an abysmal losing streak. We'll talk about a beautiful, huge blowout 7-0 win at Wrigley Field on today's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. I am Gavin Carlson. If you don't know who I am, I spent 4 years as a credentialed official journalist in the Los Angeles area, and I am now, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and I am, of course, a proud Angels fan today. What a way to end one of the most embarrassing stretches I have seen in a while for this franchise. A 5-game losing streak that included a sweep at the hands of the Oakland A's, that included a bad loss against the Tigers, an awful loss yesterday against the Cubs. What a way to snap all of that negativity. The offense was non-existent, and finally, today, just about everything goes right. I mean everything. As close to a perfect team performance as you will see. Not only do the Angels respond to 2 hits yesterday with 12 hits and 7 runs, not only do they score in the first 5 innings, and a run in the first, a run in the second, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. Talk about an amazing start, and above all else, this number one story is still Tyler Anderson. Unbelievable performance. 3 hits, just 3 hits of shutout ball with 10 strikeouts in 8 innings. He was unbelievable. That win-loss record back to 500 at 8-8. And as someone perfectly says in the comment section, that trade value going up. So first and foremost, shout out to everybody in here. Jeff saying, where was this team the last 5 games? Too bad we will get shut out tomorrow. Come on now. Don't bring me the negativity yet, though. Even though you're probably right, Jeff, don't bring it to me. I want to have some faith that this can maybe spark something, or at the very least, the right guys continue to build some momentum. Shout out to Anaheim Angel in here as well, and anybody else in here. The support has been great lately. The last 2 days, ironically, 2 of the worst Angel games I've ever seen. The last 3 days, the last 4 days. But some of the most support we've had on the postcast yet. So shout out to all of you. Really appreciate all that. And lastly, really appreciate the sponsor of today's show, Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. And with all that being said, we will talk about the offensive explosion. We will talk about some guys that needed to come through that haven't come through in a while, finally coming through. But we have to start, at least in my opinion, with Tyler Anderson. Because my goodness, was he not spectacular? Spectacular. You don't really say that about pitching performances, starting pitching performances, especially nowadays where guys don't even get to go the distance that much. But Tyler Anderson, one of his best starts, maybe his best start of the season. Everything this guy threw, he just looks so under control. And above all else, in my opinion, we've seen games where he has controlled games, where he has thrown a lot of strikes, where he's had guys on their toes. But we have not seen a game like this where you rack up 10 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts against the Cubs lineup that, of course, is not amazing or anything like that. But 10 strikeouts is phenomenal in 2024, regardless of who you are. His previous season high was 7, all the way back on April 24th against the Orioles in a loss where he pitched 5 innings and gave up 2 runs. He had 1 game with 6 strikeouts. Other than that, just 2 games with more than 5 strikeouts at 6 and 7 coming into this one. So 10 comes out of nowhere. Tyler Anderson showing a gear that we didn't really know he has. We know he's a great off-speed pitcher. We know that changeup, if he locates it, is about as effective as any changeup in the game. We know against lefties it's not fair. We know against righties he's able to force a lot of ground balls, force a lot of weak contact. But 10 strikeouts, I'm going to say it one more time. That is phenomenal. Absolutely perfect. Just 98 pitches, 66 of them strikes, so about 2/3 exactly, a little bit higher than that. He was great. He was great. No walks, just like about as perfect as you can be. I don't even really know what else to say besides he was great. Normally I like to go through and see the key moments where, he got in some tough situations and he got out of it, but really didn't feel like that today. One of his hits came in the first at-bat of the bottom of the first, and how does he respond? With 3 strikeouts. And so right away in the first inning, you're like, okay, he's locked in. Gives up a base hit and then instantly does that. And then from there on out, it was just 1, 2, 3 after 1, 2, 3 after 1, 2, 3 for the Cubs. They had one more hit in the 5th inning, but quickly responds with a strikeout and a ground out. Then 1, 2, 3 in the 6th, in the 7th. You guessed it, 1, 2, 3, and then the 8th. He does give up 1 hit, but other than that, nothing doing. Interesting to see Ben Joyce come in for Tyler Anderson. He was at 98 pitches, so I get it. I'm sure he wanted to finish the complete game, but just given the amount of pitches he was already at, given you have a big lead, other than Tyler Anderson getting to say he had a complete game shutout, really wasn't worth it. One thing to note, I know it's a 7-run lead. I know that this is not a save opportunity, but it is nice to keep seeing Ben Joyce. This is not the first time he's done this. He came in about a week or so ago, back when the Angels were actually winning. We had a big lead. He came in the 9th inning, and he shut the door. And he does it here. Mind you, a little bit shaky, gives up a leadoff single, does have a wild pitch at one point. But other than that, strikeout and a strikeout to end it. And I think the Angels are giving us a preview of what this bullpen could look like if a Carlos Estevez is traded at the deadline. I know Ben Joyce hasn't had a real save opportunity, but we saw them trust him in extra innings. I think that was against the Dodgers. They put him in the top of the 10th. We saw him, like I said, come in for a similar opportunity where he comes in, not a save opportunity, already having a big lead. But they're getting him experience in late innings, not just the 6th, not just the 7th. He's pitching in the 8th. He's pitching in the 9th multiple times. He's even pitched in the 10th. And I feel like they are grooming Ben Joyce to maybe, just maybe, be the closer of choice if Carlos Estevez, who's coming off an AL Player of the Month in the month of June, if he is traded. And I think it makes so much sense. You got nothing to lose. If Ben Joyce blows a save in 2024 when you're 15 games under 500, who cares? It's worth the risk of him maybe turning into a shutdown, lockdown closer, because he certainly has the potential with the arm, with the velocity, with the sinker, with the slider, and that 103-mile-an-hour fastball. There's certainly the upside of a really quality closer in there, so might as well try it. I think we're getting hints that might be what happens if Carlos Estevez gets traded at the deadline, which he absolutely should. And another guy who absolutely should be traded is Tyler Anderson, the star of this game. And how much does this help his trade value? I think, obviously, it's probably his best start of the year. 8 shutout innings, just 3 hits, 10 strikeouts. But how many times do I have to say it? The 10 strikeouts is the key to this start. Because everything else we've seen from him this season, we've seen him shut down teams. It's not like it's his first great performance. I'll quickly pull up his game log again. He's had games May 17th, where he gave up just 2 hits, just 1 earned run on a home run in 7 innings against the Texas Rangers. That was probably his other great start. He's had multiple games where he hasn't given up a run, obviously, against the Cubs. He had one on April 2nd against Miami, 7 innings pitched, just 4 hits and 2 walks. On April 8th against the Rays, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 walk. But in these games, 3 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts, 5 strikeouts. Against Cincinnati, gave up 1 run, 7 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, 3 hits, but once again, just 2 strikeouts. So not only a season high in strikeouts, not only the longest he has gone in a game, his second game of getting to 8 complete innings, it's his best start, but it's a multifaceted start, and that's what they're going to want to see, they being other teams at the deadline. We know what we got from him in terms of ground outs and the occasional swing and a miss. But you see, if you're another team and you see him have a game like this where he can have 10 strikeouts, you're saying, okay, wait a second. If he is our 3rd or 4th best starter, if we're an actual playoff team and not the Angels, Tyler Anderson is our 4th starter, who at the very least is going to force ground balls, but at his best could strike out 10 people. That's a guy you want to go get, right? Not to mention he's a lefty, which is, of course, always in demand. So absolutely dream performance from Tyler Anderson. Perfect. Obviously gets us the win. Obviously he got that record up to 500 again at 8-8. Obviously the ERA drops down. We love to see that. at 281 now, but above all else, the strikeouts increasing the trade value, absolutely perfect. Absolutely what we want to see. So with all that being said, I'm going to take my first break here on the postcast. Shout out to everybody in here. Please leave a like, leave a comment in the stream right now. Let me know what you think of Tyler Anderson, how much you'll miss him if we do trade him. I think it's inevitable. It has to be. This losing streak before this game, I think, in my opinion, absolutely locked in, clinched the fact that we are selling at the deadline. But, let me know if you disagree, if you think otherwise. But with all that being said, we'll take our first break here. And when we come back, we will talk about the offensive explosion, because, boy, what an explosion we saw from a lineup that was absolutely dead the previous 5 games, but they came out of their shell in a huge way today at Wrigley Field. We'll talk about it after our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, once again, today's show is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. I think, in my opinion, the unique nature of, I think the best part about baseball, honestly, is the different ballparks, the different baseball cities. I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. I love football. I love the NBA. I love soccer. But really, no sport compares to the MLB when it comes to obviously having unique stadiums, not only in terms of the stands, but of course the actual dimensions of the park. But it just feels like there's a culture around each stadium because of the way it's laid out, because of the type of city it is, because of the type of team that plays there. Each team is unique. Each destination becomes that much more intriguing. So I highly recommend using Booking.com to explore those baseball cities. I'll be doing it in New York in just over a week. I will be going to New York, and I'm already booked on Booking.com for my stay. So from hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. And today's show is also once again brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. We are back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I haven't had the opportunity to say that in a while, and I'm stuttering, so I'm going to say it again because it feels good. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast, a victory edition. We haven't got to say that in so long. It feels so good, man. I know it doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, but it just feels so much better watching an Angels game when they do what they did today. 12 hits. 7 runs. Tyler Anderson with 8 innings of shutout ball, 10 strikeouts, just 3 hits allowed by him, just 4 hits allowed by the team overall. About as perfect, you see it in the thumbnail, about as perfect of a game, of a performance as we've seen from the Angels all year. And so fitting it came after this abysmal stretch. I already talked to you about Tyler Anderson and how amazing he was, but I say it all the time. This is a momentum team. Whether it's the veterans or the young guys. And you can't tell me that the fact that the Angels were exploding every inning offensively did not help Tyler Anderson. It's so much easier to settle in, to be calm, to just throw strikes, get those strikeouts when it's 1-0 in the first, it's 2-0 in the second, it's 5-0 in the third, it's 6-0 in the fourth, it's 7-0 in the fifth. You don't think that makes it easier on Tyler Anderson when he comes on the mound and sees those huge numbers on the board? Absolutely it does. Even a veteran like him, even a guy who has pitched great in so many games where he wasn't getting run support, given his 8-8 record despite a 2.81 ERA. It certainly helps, and we have to now talk about the offensive explosion, because it's no secret. I have been ripping into this lineup in previous days, and for good reason. Just 2 hits yesterday in a complete game loss to Justin Steele. I think they had 4 hits or something against Joey Estes in a complete game shutout in Oakland against a guy with a 5+ ERA. It's no secret this team has done nothing. They were outscored 17-5 against the A's, really 17-1 if you don't count a couple garbage runs in the first game. They have been abysmal. But boy, did they break out. And boy, was this not a case of some of the guys you wanting to see break out be the ones that broke out. Nolan Schanuel, I love that average, finally in the 240 range after a 2-for-3 with a run scored, had a walk as well on 3 times. That's what you want from a leadoff hitter. And we were giving him time. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because we've seen him be great as a contact hitter. He hasn't had it for most of the year. But if you get rid of the first 2 months or something, I'm sure that average is over 300. He's slowly picking it up. We're slowly seeing at least 1 hit a game from him, sometimes multiple. Today, 2-for-3 with the walk. Exactly what you want from the leadoff spot. Keston Hiura. Hiura, I'm not sure how you say it, but pretty soon I better learn because with Luis Rengifo out, this guy is getting his opportunity. I believe he was the DH yesterday. He plays at second base today. He hits second where Rengifo hits, and he does a pretty darn good Luis Rengifo impersonation, however you want to say it. 2-for-5 with an RBI in the 2-hole. Pretty close to what you would get from a Luis Rengifo. Obviously, not many at-bats this season, just getting called up because of Rengifo's injury yesterday. But Keston Hiura certainly has a place in the lineup, at least while Rengifo's out. And with the way Drury's been playing, with the way, let's be honest, Zach Neto's been playing. He did have a hit today, but it's not like he's tearing it up. We'll never take him out of the lineup. But all I'm saying is Keston Hiura has certainly the route to play every day at second base. The guy I was going to say is the way Brandon Drury's been playing, certainly Keston Hiura can be better than Brandon Drury while Rengifo's out. Who knows? Maybe when Rendon comes back in, Keston Hiura has the right to fight with Rendon for infield time and time at the top of the lineup. But he takes advantage of his opportunity. That's exactly what you want to see. He's still 27. He's not old. He's not young. He's technically a veteran, but he also doesn't have much MLB experience. So certainly there's still upside there. Love to see the 2-for-5. Taylor Ward, 1-for-3, but 2 walks, 2 runs scored. We will take it from him. The average doesn't really go up. It's at 237, but he got on base 3 times. You're never going to complain about that. Willie Calhoun with a 1-for-4 and a walk. Logan O'Hoppe, 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs. Obviously, he had that big hit we will talk about. Moniak, still just a 1-for-5, but believe it or not, that's enough for his average to go up. Same thing with Joe Adell. His 1-for-4 is enough for his average to go up. He did have, of course, the big fly that we'll talk about as well. Luis Guillermo, 1-for-4 with the walk, and we talked about Zach Neto, 1-for-5 with an RBI. Normally, I don't like reading the box score, just like I just did, but this is a rare occasion where you need to know how every single guy did, give every single guy their credit, because 12 hits, and every single person in the lineup got a hit. That might be the first time all season. I don't know that off the top of my head, of course, but that might be the first time all season that every single guy in the lineup got a hit, and it started right away. Nolan Schanuel, leadoff walk to start the game. Keston Hiura gets a base hit. Taylor Ward gets a base hit. The bases are loaded for Willie Calhoun. Unfortunately, he gets called out on strikes against Kyle Hendricks. Disappointing. Then Logan O'Hoppe is beaned. And in Beantown, he's beaned. We score a run on the hit by pitch. And then, ironically, Mickey Moniak lines into a double play because Keston Hiura is thrown out at home. And so what should be a huge inning is only 1 run. And I'm thinking at first, oh man, how great it would have been to open this game with 3 runs. With the way this team's been hitting, we might not see any more base runners the rest of the game. But boy, was I wrong. Despite 2 flyouts to start the second, we get a Joe Adell walk, a Nolan Schanuel single, a Keston Hiura single, and that's the RBI single that scores Joe Adell, moves Nolan Schanuel to third. Keston Hiura gets caught stealing. Second time already in 2 innings that he is thrown out on the bases. So really a great Luis Rengifo impersonation. I'm sorry, maybe that's a jab, but he really impersonating Rengifo in every way. Getting on base and then doing risky things on base. But 2-0 just like that. Once again, another chance to, another example of leaving runners on. You leave Schanuel on third. In this inning, you obviously had the bases loaded in the first inning, so you're leaving runners on. But Colton Brewer replaces Kyle Hendricks. I believe it was injury related. And then Taylor Ward walks to start the third. A fielder's choice. He gets to third. Taylor Ward on an error that Willie Calhoun reaches on. And then a big hit. Logan O'Hoppe, the base hit, single line drive, scores. Taylor Ward moves Calhoun to second. Moniak grounds out, of course. But then Neto with an RBI liner fly ball as well. That was great. Then we got another gift. Neto tries to steal second, and there's a throwing error on the catcher. Logan O'Hoppe scores, and it's 5-0, just like that. That 3-run third really made me feel good because it felt like the first 2 innings, like I said, a lot of runs were left on the board or left off the board, left on the bases. So it took a lot of help in the third inning. 2 errors in the third by the Cubs, but that helped it become 5-0. And that really, at that point, you're thinking, okay, Tyler Anderson looks like he's in a groove. It's 5-0. I think we're going to get out of this or end this streak. And boy, was I right, because then in the top of the 4th, we get another run. Taylor Ward walks again. Calhoun singles again, and a double play by O'Hoppe. Unfortunate, but it's enough for Taylor Ward to score. It's 6-0. And then in the 5th, the man that people have given up on, maybe including myself, but what does he do here, folks? Not to pat myself on the back, but he comes up against a lefty. It's the only time this guy should be hitting. Joe Adell homers to center field. He crushed it. 110.2 exit velo, 431 feet into left center field off Drew Smiley. He got a sinker below his knees and absolutely crushed it on 2-2. A great at-bat. A very impressive at-bat. Imagine if this guy only hit against lefties. Imagine if he only hit against lefties for the next month. What do you think that average would do? You're telling me Joe Adell, even with how low I think of Joe Adell, you're telling me Joe Adell can't go 1 for 4 every game against lefties? He certainly can. And that is enough to bring that average up from the 180s it's in right now. So I still don't know why he's starting this game against a righty. He got lucky that a lefty got brought in this one. Ironically, that's his only hit against a lefty. Not surprised. But this only furthers my theory, my hypothesis, my advice for Ron Washington. Joe Adell should only be hitting against lefties. He should be a strictly platoon guy. And if he hits only against lefties, there's no way that 185 average can't get in the 220s, in the 230s. And then, once you see, okay, Joe Adell can hit against lefties, then maybe roll him back out against righties while he has some confidence and see. If he's hot against lefties and still can't hit against righties, then he will never be an everyday player. But if maybe he's just in a huge mental slump right now and him hitting against lefties is enough for him to break out of it and then start hitting better against righties, then ta-da, you've saved the career of a former top 10 pick or first round pick. So that's my big takeaway from this hitting performance. Love to see Keston Hiura play well. Love to see Nolan Schanuel and Taylor Ward play well, get on base. And above all else, I'm not surprised that O'Hoppe goes 2 for 4. He's the man. I'm not even really shocked that Nolan Schanuel goes 2 for 3 with the walk. He has that in him. And good for Keston Hiura. But boy, it feels good to see Joe Adell come through with the big fly. And it's not like he was great other than that. He did get walked, but he did also have a strikeout. But if Joe Adell is a guy that goes 1 for 4 every game and hits a home run every 3 games against lefties, you'll take it. So once again, only hit him against lefties. I think there's a future there. I think it's what should happen, but we will see. With all that being said, I'll take my last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. When I come back, I will read your comments. I will look forward to tomorrow and also tell you, is it time to give Ron Washington some credit? After I've been ripping into him the past 5 games, does he deserve some credit for this win? We'll talk about it after our last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Today's show is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Now, here on the Locked On Angels Postcast and on all the Locked On shows on the Locked On Podcast Network, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, the playoffs, or more. It's year-round. But you know what else is year-round? Collections season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. I've said it a million times. It's now July 6th. I graduated from college, from UCLA, literally almost a full month ago now, and I've been all out and about. I moved out of an apartment into a new apartment. I'm now back home in the Bay Area for a couple weeks. I've got multiple jobs. I'm applying to more jobs. I'm doing adult stuff, and it's too much for me to keep track of on my own. So that's why I need Tax Network USA, and so do you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or you finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And be sure to mention Locked On Angels Postcast at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount off their services. And finally, today's show is brought to you by Ibotta. I love Ibotta. It's summertime, which means it's barbecue season. I hope you had a great barbecue 2 days ago for July 4th. I hope you're having a nice barbecue right now on a Saturday, at least where I am. It is ridiculously hot, and the Angels are ridiculously hot. Today would have been a great day, the rare great day to throw on the Angels outside with a barbecue and enjoy the game. So it's summertime, which means it's barbecue season. Stock up on all your grilling favorites and earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibotta. So you won't have to choose between burgers or hot dogs. You can get both. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibotta, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. So right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Whew, that was a long ad read, but we are back here on the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, every single one. Even after the 5-game losing streak, I was here every day, sticking it out with you guys. Some people weren't, but I was, every single day, after every single game, sticking it out with you, even on July 4th, because I care about this team, and above all else, I care about y'all. So we are back here, as always, after every single game on the Locked On Angels Postcast. I am Gavin Carlson. Shout out to everybody in here one more time. Jeff, Anaheim Angel, Redman R, believe it's his first time. Daniel Barry, always in here. Let's read your comments real quick, as we always do on every single show. And then I will quickly talk about Ron Washington and my opinions on if he deserves credit for helping the team get out of the slump. Anaheim Angel originally agreed with Jeff, saying, we will get shut out tomorrow. Looks like actually taking batting practice is good, and at least Tyler's trade value is staying and increasing. I think it's increasing after that performance, because if Tyler Anderson has a game where he throws 7 shutout innings, of course it helps the trade value. But like I said a million times, the strikeouts, it's what's key. It shows a different gear, a different level that Tyler Anderson can get to. Jeff, responding to me, said, believe me, I love to see them win tomorrow. Whenever they score a lot of runs the next day, they just don't. Just saying. He's saying, when they score a bunch of runs today, they're not going to tomorrow. That's probably fair. Redman R says, Cubs got shut out by the Angels. Unacceptable. It's not like it was the Dodgers. I would understand if it was the Dodgers, but the Angels, they're the B team of LA. Ooh, that's a jab. I'm guessing this is a Chicago fan. That is a jab at our Angels, but unfortunately, it's true, especially in 2024. He also adds, Chicago has nothing to be proud of this year. Cubs are the best of the worst. White Sox are the worst overall. White Sox stink. Thank goodness they do, or else the Angels might be the worst team in baseball. Shout out to them. Daniel Barry saying, yo, Anaheim Angel said, Redman R, yep, I'm surprised with the shutout, but it's going to happen. It's with Tyler on the mound. Yes, Tyler Anderson, the man. And finally, responding to what I was saying before the break, Anaheim Angel says, Ron doesn't need the credit. I don't think not having batting practice previous games helped at all. That's true. You're talking a lot about the batting practice. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I don't really know. I'm not an MLB player. I don't know how much it affects you. It's interesting conversation to have. Anthony Jimenez says, is it time to trade Anderson after a great pitch game? This is an interesting conversation, but in my opinion, I very much believe in the theory that you wait until the deadline. You wait until other teams know they're competing with other teams. Right now, there's competitors. There are, teams buying at the deadline. There's teams like the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Orioles, insert team X that's actually good. They know they're buying at the deadline. They already know it. But they also know they're in no rush to do it right now. they also know, they're maybe these middling teams that are 500 and they want a piece right now that can help them start a streak before the All-Star break. But no one really gets traded before the All-Star break because teams know you might as well wait. You might as well see what you have when the deadline is approaching. And the closer you get to it, then that's when you start making calls. And so if I'm the Angels, unless someone blows me away with a Tyler Anderson offer right now, I don't think you're going to have a team like the Yankees, the Orioles, the Dodgers, any of these, superstar teams. I don't think any of them are running to the Angels right now, especially they understand how trade value works too. They're not going to purposely trade for Tyler Anderson the second he had a great game. They want to trade the least amount for him as possible. So naturally, it always happens. You wait until the trade deadline. They're not in a rush to go trade for Tyler Anderson. They're winning right now without him, right? And we're not in a rush to trade him right now because his value will actually increase the longer you wait. Kind of like Game Time. This is a random plug, but you know what I say? The prices go down the longer you wait. For Tyler Anderson, the price will go up the longer you wait. Because if one team's trying to get him on July 6th, just wait till there's 8 teams trying to get him in a couple of weeks. That's when the demand is greater than the supply, especially of a rare piece in the MLB in 2024, a left-handed starting pitcher with experience who's playing the best baseball of his career. That is a valuable trade chip. So wait, let the demand increase, let more teams be going after him at once, and you will get the most for him. So I certainly think he's a must trade, but I don't think you do it right now. Real quick, we'll talk about Ron Washington real quick so I can let you go and have a great Saturday afternoon. I still need to see more. I like the lineup a lot more today. I did not like Taylor Ward leading off yesterday. I think you can maybe do that if he's red hot, but you cannot do that with the Taylor Ward who's been struggling right now, who at times looks like he's scared of fastballs, scared of high and in sliders. No need to lead him off. Love Shanuel leading off. You got to give him his credit for just trusting Keston Hiura, saying, screw it. We got nothing to lose. That's the type of manager I want right now. A manager that understands we got nothing to lose. Might as well try new stuff. So, sure, not only is Keston Hiura in the lineup, not only is he placing Rengifo, but screw it. Hit him second. He was red hot in AAA. I'd rather have a guy who's red hot in AAA and see what he can do in majors right now than people on the Angels in our lineup that we know for a fact stink right now, right? I'd rather have a guy who we don't know and certainly has the upside than a guy who we know, Amoniak, Joe Adell, that we know is going to get out most of the time. So I love the Keston Hiura at batting second and at second. It worked out perfectly well. Got to work out a little bit on the bases, but that's okay. The rest of the lineup is whatever. I still, like I said, don't think Joe Adell needs to be hitting against righties. You're hitting him 9th every day, which means he's no good. And he's also not really a plus in the field. So he's really just a guy that's there because you're trying to get him at bats, and I don't think it's working. Once again, he gets an opportunity against the lefty, it works out. He should only be hitting against lefties. That's my opinion. With all that being said, I'm Gavin Carlson. I'm signing off. Shout out to all of you in here. I appreciate the support as always. I really, really do. So I'm going to sign off, and I'll be back here tomorrow. A great win for the Angels. Appreciate all the support as always. And we'll be back after hopefully another win tomorrow. It's been a long stream, so I'll wrap it up. Thanks a lot for all your support, and I'll see you all tomorrow. So long.